I'm excited. So we have a new task up in the portal. The deadlines for all of the other tasks have been extended. So if you're still working on something, no worries, keep on chugging away. But there's also a new task called Playtesting Existing Levels that's up and available for you guys. And this is what it looks like. And I just wanted to kind of show you guys a few of the key links here that you'll want to use during this. So most importantly is that because there are new levels out and also new mechanics, if you have already downloaded the package before, if you were prototyping a level, you're going to want to download the most recent version. And if you haven't downloaded anything yet from Unity, you're going to want to follow all those steps. So I'm planning to write up a little step-by-step guide for you guys with it written out. We also have our YouTube tutorial for it. But either way, you're going to want to have Unity and be able to download this most recent package version. So all you do is go into either this task or the prototyping levels task, follow this link here, and you'll just be able to download it and drag it into your project once you have it all set up after following those tutorials. So once you have that, let's kind of get into what a playtest is, why it's important, and what we're going to be doing today. So a playtest is important because we need feedback for our game, right? This is an iterative process. We've done a development sprint and we're continuing to do development sprints, but now we're playtesting, and that's to kind of check in the process of finding the fun and figuring out, are our mechanics working? What do we want to change? Are the levels that we've had set up already fun yet, or do they need a bit more work and fine tuning? All of this important information can come from playtesting, and in order to get that information, us as level designers and programmers of mechanics and people who are embedded into this process of making the game, our feedback can be good to an extent because we have a lot of perspective of this is possible, this is already in the works, so we don't need to worry about it because we already know this change is being made. But we're also so ingrained in the process that we don't have a lot of perspective of being able to step back and see it from an outsider's view. And that's really important and necessary. So there are different kinds of playtesters. Like I said, if you're in the process of making the game, or say you're presenting this to a stakeholder who has funded this game development process for you, that's one type of playtester. And again, their feedback is equally valuable. But what's awesome and super, super valuable, and the reason that we bring in new people like Corey to the project, is to get a thing called Kleenex testers. So that's people who have ideally never played the game before or never even seen the game before. At the bare minimum, they don't know a lot about it. Maybe they've just seen an advertisement if you were in a real studio. Maybe they've signed up for a beta test and you're pulling them in before they've played it yet, but they have seen a few videos. But ideally, as little information as they have on the game, especially about the parts that they're going to be actually playing for you, is the best, because they'll be able to have a completely fresh perspective and give you all kinds of information that you might want to know. So, Corey, have you ever played Feisty Ferrets before?
I have watched it be played. I haven't played any of the actual levels.
Okay, gotcha. And do you remember what level it was that you watched being played? Like, where were we in that process at that time?
It was probably the example level that it was in the very first project briefing stream, I think.
Okay, gotcha. So was that the one where they had the
balls?
Ball?
Yes.
Yes, classic. We love that. We love that bug. Okay, we've definitely improved, I hope, quite a bit since then. So Corey's not really seen much of this project. He has a little bit of background about what the Feisty Ferret is trying to do and a few of the basic mechanics, but we have more mechanics and we have a brand new level that he's never seen before. So that's going to be really awesome. So for you guys, just to give you a little bit of context in what a real studio would do for a playtest versus what you guys will be doing as this playtest task, this is kind of the what to submit for completion. You're going to be recording yourself playing the game and filling out a feedback form. But for this playtest session and in a real studio, what you would do is bring someone in, and have someone or multiple someones acting as a host for the playtest. And the host job is basically to welcome the playtester. So welcome, Corey. Thank you for coming. And also to introduce a little bit about the game, kind of guide them to where they're going to be playing, ask them to sit down, have everything set up for them. And after that, you really just watch them and take notes. So you don't want to offer any feedback or advice. If they're stuck, it's really tempting to jump in and say, okay, well, have you tried this yet? Or what if you looked over here? But you don't want to do that in a playtest session. You want it to be completely on their own, figuring it out like they would in the wild if they were just a random person who downloaded your game. So that's what we're going to be doing here. I'm going to pass it over to Corey, and he's just going to play through it. I'm going to ask him to be as verbal and expressive as he can be as he plays, and I'll be taking notes, but I won't be offering any kind of feedback or advice during that process to keep it a completely blank slate for him.
Cool.
So are you ready, Corey?
Yes. So I
Awesome.
have the project pulled up in Unity.
Cool.
And we are starting with Feisty Ferrets level playground, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and, maximize on play. Let's do it. Oh, wow. Okay. A lot of balls. Whoa, I can jump really high, too. Seems like that first jump was higher. Interesting. Or maybe it's because I was on top of a ball. I don't know. It seems like my jumping is not consistent. I don't know. This is a very floaty jump. I can see through the wall when I tilt my camera over here. That's interesting. I kind of... Whoa. There he is. I kind of would have expected that the camera would push inwards. That's okay. Okay, I've got a block here where I can push this. Get it away from the wall. And there's another block. Oh, it's like Fall Guys. Okay. Push these up. And make myself a little stairway here. Oh no! Oh no! Can I get this away from the wall? I was able to do it before, but I'm kind of worried. Okay, here we go. I wish I could see in the room when I'm up near the wall. That's where I would like to have like a camera pushing inward effect, like some games have. This is a very slidey block, and all these balls are in my way. Okay, let me push these balls. Get these out of here. Staircase. Man, everything is so slippery. Okay, looking good. Just need this last one over here. There we go. Oh no. Balls! Okay, it's so slippery, but I'm just gonna try and go for it. Okay, success. I made it. Checkpoint? Very steamy checkpoint. Okay. Oh, there's moving platforms now, wow. Trampoline? Wow. That pushes me really high. And there's a lot going on here. Okay. No, wait. Okay, cool. Where am I supposed to... Huh. Whoa. That, the trampoline jump force feels a little inconsistent, because sometimes I feel like I'm going way high like that, and other times not so high like this. I'm not really sure why that is. Will I stay on this? Oh no, I slide off of it when it moves. It's a little weird. I would expect to be able to just sit there and have it move. Ferret move with it. Okay, let's go over here. Oh no, oh no. Well, I don't think that was the intended way to get up here. I'm up here now. And where do I go from here? Oh, there's a big ramp. Okay, let's go down here. And there's a little block. Oh, I guess that was it. I escaped. I'm a free ferret.
Cool.
I feel like there was
awesome.
more that I didn't look at, but cool.
Nice. You're a free ferret. Okay.
I am a free ferret.
Awesome. So I am going to, hold on, let me finish typing up this one last sentence that I had. I'm going to share the notes that I took during this, and we can talk about them briefly, but then we're going to fill out that form together. And then since the levels are pretty short right now, maybe we can play test the example level before. And since you'll have a bit more perspective of that, it can kind of be a differentiation between Kleenex playtesting, where you've never seen this level before, versus you've seen that level already, and now you have a bit more perspective of, oh, it's changed since last time I saw it. So,
Okay. Yeah.
bug with. Okay, let me share these notes that I took. Okay, so I noticed a lot of smiling, a lot of laughing. You noticed a lot of the bugs and or mechanics that are in progress right now, so that's great. All the things that you mentioned are things that I have also noticed and would like to change. So those three things were the camera really should kind of like zoom in when it's against a wall, or at least switch to a fixed perspective instead of following, because it does feel weird when you have to, you kind of get up close to a wall and you're like, where am I? So definitely something in the works. The platform not moving the ferret with it is also in the works right now. And the jump heights thing, there is a difference. Like there's a definite inconsistency that we haven't been able to track down yet, also in the works. So it's awesome to be able to have someone like verbalize that and be like, I feel it, I expect it to be this way. It's like, yes, you're so right. That is absolutely something that should be expected. But yeah, I noticed lots of smiling, especially with the first moment. You're like, oh, wow, lots of balls, and lots of laughter. The ferret was very slippery when he was trying to make the staircase. I thought it was fun that, the same thing kind of happened when Dan played the first level, but we'll talk about that later. But you solved the puzzle correctly, because it's the way that it was supposed to be solved, but not exactly how I envisioned the pieces lining up, if that makes sense. Like if a platforming puzzle is a puzzle, it's like there's multiple ways that you can fit things together to solve it. So I think that's really cool, and I love to see that happen. I'm glad that you recognized that the flag was a checkpoint. It does look steamy now that you mention it. Like the color rising looks very wet and warm, I think. You're right. But I'm glad that you recognized it as a checkpoint. And yeah, I think that's everything. But as you can see, for anyone, if you're playtesting, it's good to sit and take these notes. It's more helpful. I have a lot of quotes here, like direct quotes from Corey, and those are extra helpful. You might not be able to make direct quotes of yourself, because that would feel a little bit weird if you're the one talking out loud and then you're quoting yourself. But if you were to be a playtest host in the future, these are just the kind of things that you make note about. You make notes of the bugs that they recognized, or things that you have already considered that need to be changed, or things that they've suggested and you're like, oh, I didn't think about that. You're right, that does need to be changed, or that's something to consider. So those are some things to take notes about. Quotes and like moments where they're happy or frustrated are really important to take notes about. And things that they recognized correctly, or like had a little aha moment, like, oh, this is supposed to make a staircase. So if you're making kind of like a log of things to look back on, you can save these notes and look back at them whenever you need to be like, what was that thing that playtester said, or what was that bug that they found that nobody else had found yet? Like the bug with the top of the platforms, that was something new. So it's really good to be able to do these playtests. And I thank you so much for doing that. So I'm going to kind of interview you now. So again, you guys will be filling out this feedback form by yourself, but I'm going to kind of ask Corey these questions just to get you familiar with the feedback form and know what it looks like a bit. So Corey, what's your email?
Let's do C Pfeiffer at Eline Media.
Pfeiffer, Pfeifer.
That's correct.
elinemedia.com. Awesome. All right. What was the name of the game / level tested?
This is Feisty Ferrets level Playground.
Awesome. And today is the 2nd of August. Okay, so was there anything you found confusing or frustrating?
I was a little confused about where I was supposed to go with after I reached the first checkpoint, I was just kind of exploring that place with all the moving platforms, and I didn't see a clear exit. I was just trying to get up high, and then I busted through the ceiling, and then I really didn't know where to go. But I did find the exit, so I was also a little frustrated by the camera because I wanted to be able to see where I was at all times, but the camera would go through walls and things, and then I wouldn't be able to see myself. I noticed that the ferret had like a pink outline, and if I could see the outline of the ferret through the walls, even that would be helpful.
Hey, awesome. Thank you so much. Did the play experience feel too long, short, or just right?
I think it was about right.
Okay, cool. Was there anything that you found especially satisfying?
I liked the staircase puzzle. Getting my way up there was cool. And it was neat just to explore the area with all the moving platforms. It was fun to get into the level and just have there be a bunch of balls. Like that was, you saw, I was kind of surprised and delighted at that.
All right, got to catch up with all your helpful feedback. I like the term delightful. That's a great word. What was the most exciting or interesting moment of the experience for you?
I guess figuring out the staircase puzzle, like when I noticed all of the different sized blocks and that there was a platform up there, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. That's what I have to do. And then I had to solve that puzzle and push the things around. That was exciting.
What was the most challenging moment for you?
That was also challenging, mostly because of the camera and because of how like slippery things felt. Like I would push one of the blocks somewhere and then it would keep sliding around and it wouldn't stay where I put it. But also the moving platforms area, that was challenging because I expected to be able to move with the platforms and I couldn't get my bearings of where I was because I just kept falling between the platforms and then shooting way high with the trampolines.
Did you run into anything that seemed obviously buggy or broken?
Yes. The moving platforms didn't seem like they were working properly because it seemed like I should have traveled with them. When I busted through the ceiling, that didn't seem like something that was intentional. The sliding I can see being just part of the mechanics, like the physical nature of this world. And then the camera also, it didn't feel buggy, but it didn't feel good.
Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. Okay. How would you rate your personal experience with the genre or style of game you're tested, with 1 being I've never played a game like this before and 5 being I play a tons of games like this?
I would say maybe like a 4. I've played a decent number of 3D platformers, but I haven't played anything that's like a lot like this. But
Gotcha.
I've played stuff that's similar in terms of gameplay.
Cool. Okay. Does it feel like this game was designed for someone with similar abilities to your own?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, cool. So you feel like you're about as good as this game expects you to be?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Describe the objectives of the game.
I had to explore and get past all the puzzles, get to the end. I wasn't sure where the end was going to be, but I just wanted to like exploring and get past the challenge areas.
Did you find any loopholes, something that the designer might not have intended?
Yeah, when I broke through the ceiling.
Definitely not intended. What was your strategy for winning?
I had to figure out what the puzzle was, and then just use the physics to push things around until they were where they needed to be, and also just like platform carefully to get to the end.
Cool. Okay. These ones are kind of more vague and loose, so you don't have to answer them. I'm just going to kind of ask them, and if you have like NA, that's a fine answer. What was something that you felt worked really well?
I liked being the ferret and pushing things around. That was fun.
That's good. What was something that you felt didn't work well?
The trampolines and the moving platforms were a little like janky feeling.
Okay. What was something you'd like to see more of?
I would like to see more physics puzzles where I have to push things around in order to like solve a puzzle or make something so that I can get to the next area.
Okay. Hint to anybody making a level out there. Any other specific comments, observations, or suggestions?
I don't know. I thought it was cute. I think the camera will do a lot to help it. If you can get a camera that when you are blocked, when the view to the player is blocked by a solid object, it pushes inward so that you can see the ferret. That would be really helpful.
Okay. Well, awesome, Corey. Thank you so much for that feedback. It's all very helpful and will be put to good use. So hopefully we can get you back as a playtester again and you can see improvements later on.
Of course.
Yeah. Speaking of that, would you like to have that experience with one of the levels that you've seen before?
Sure.
Awesome.
Let's pull that up. So that would be this one, Feisty Ferrets level example.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And I think that should be up. Okay. All right. Interesting. So I see more of these blocks that I can move. Oh, I can move this one too. That's fun. Jump on me. Okay. Will do. Does this put me at the same height every time? Oh, can I double jump? Can't tell. Oh, I can double jump, huh? I had no idea. Interesting. I can push this thing around. Anything? Am I double jumping? I might not be. It might be that. No, I am. The particles are like confusing me a little bit because I can't quite tell what I'm doing. But it feels like I can double jump if I do that. Touch me. Okay. And there's a ball, but just one. There we go. Nice little snowman stack. Perfect. And this guy, which I need to get up there. Oh, well, I guess that's a thing that I can just do in this game unintentionally. I wonder why. That's interesting. Does that happen if I... Oh, that's what the checkpoint does. I was wondering about that. So if I leave this level now, I will get teleported back up there. Okay. Yep. Okay. Wow. I'm outside the cage. I'm free. I'm a free ferret. Okay. I don't think I'm supposed to go that high. That's how high I go. Oh, but not that time. Okay. Let's double jump up here. I'm still not entirely sure about the can or can't double jump thing. That really did not make me go very high that time. Let's get on this balance beam here. Go across. There we go. Checkpoint. Like that animation. That's cool. Solve this. Where is this just a maze for me? Let's bust out of here. I kind of wanted to just jump on top of all of it. I can't do that from over here. A lot of stuff over here. Can I move this? Can. Let's go. I like to bust through the wall. That's fun. I did it.
Okay,
I'm free.
awesome. Congratulations. You are a twice over free ferret now.
Indeed.
All right, let me finish typing up this little comment, and then I will show these. I don't think we're going to go through the entire checklist that we did for the last one, but if we want to just talk a little bit casually, briefly about your experience, we can do that.
Sure.
So let me pull this up, and I'm just gonna. Okay, so this is from the first playtest. For anyone who's watching, this is from the second one. So we didn't have the initial smiling big reaction because there wasn't a lot going on, like the beginning of the playground level. So I think it would be cool, just my own reflections, if we could get that reaction again with something bright and exciting that happens at the beginning of all the levels, because I really liked that moment in the first playtest versus this one where Corey was just kind of like, oh, interesting, I think I can push things, instead of being really excited. I liked that you read the signs and were like, yes, I will do what you are telling me to do. That's the best possible reaction that we can have. I think there are lots of players who would say, oh, you're telling me what to do, I'm going to do the opposite. So I'm glad that it works on some people. It was you are a sheep. No, you're just doing what, you're a game designer. You're like, okay, I'll do what the game designers wanted me to do. You're just being kind about it. So for the double jumping, I think that you can't actually, but it's great to know that it's like something that people feel like they can do, because we definitely need to improve our conveyance in that sense then, if that's the case, especially with the particles being confusing on like, are they telling me that I can double jump? What's going on with them? What are they trying to infer here? So we'll definitely iterate on that based on that feedback. I liked that you were pushing all the objects around. I'm glad that we did this playtest as well, because it made me realize you're not breaking through the ceiling, but the checkpoint, you have experience in Unity, so you know about like colliders. It's a sphere collider around that flag. So if you go like a little bit under it, I think it's too low right now, where you're kind of triggering it from underneath. So that's why it feels like you're busting through the ceiling all of a sudden, which is a funny effect, but definitely not intended. You got outside of the cage because of that jump bug that we have with like the differentiating heights. It's like based on frame rate, so if you have some lag, it just like boosts you way higher than you're supposed to. So definitely something to work on. It's really funny that you just straight up got outside of the cage, which to be fair is the point of the game, but I don't think that it's an attainable goal for most ferrets to just kind of be able to like spring out of the cage like that, like a flying Feisty Ferret. I mean, maybe that could be like a DLC, flying Feisty Ferrets, but we're not there yet. So definitely something to work on there. I'm glad that you liked the checkpoint animation. Shout out to Dan. I feel like I give Dan a shout out in every single stream. It's because he deserves it. His art is awesome.
Good guy.
Yeah, he does awesome work. I like that you wanted to jump on top of the whole like big maze thing. You kept on like pushing on some of the blocks and be like, can I push on it? And I'm not sure if you made the connection that the blue blocks were the ones that were pushable, but I'm glad that you were curious anyways and were like, can I push this? I kind of want to push it. So maybe we'll do something more with the conveyance there as well, just kind of to make it stand out more and be like, these are the ones that you can push. So this was all really good feedback. Thank you for being such a vocal playtester. That is like the core of playtesting, just like saying what you're thinking out loud and being very expressive. So thank you so much, Corey, for being an awesome playtester.
Of course, no problem.
Yeah.
I wanted to give a comment on some of the things that you said.
Hmm.
So with the blocks being movable, it was interesting because in the playground level that I played, the gray textured blocks were movable, and also in that example level, the toy had that gray texture on it, and I could move that around. But then in that maze, there was a bunch of gray textured things that I couldn't move, but the blue textured things I could move, and that was like kind of a disconnect. Usually, I expect in games for things to have like we call them signifiers, where there's a clear marker that this thing does this, and this other thing is different and does this other different thing. So if they had all been like consistent colors for I can move this, I can't move this, that might have been more clear to me.
Yeah, I think that's great feedback. I think that consistency is going to be important in all of these levels, especially if you're trying to use something like color as a conveyance factor. So,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I completely agree with that.
The particles with the jumping were interesting because you said that a double jump wasn't actually a thing. And I think the reason I was interpreting it that way was because there was some particles that flew out from me, and it just so happened to time with when I pressed the spacebar a second time.
Mm.
And it was just kind of hard to tell the heights of the jumps and things in general because it wasn't very consistent.
Yes, the inconsistent jump height has cursed us for multiple weeks now. We will be trying so very hard to fix that soon.
It's all
Luckily,
good.
you can still jump and like you get up to the point you need to eventually. So like it's been fine for prototyping sake, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely something. Again, that's really just another consistency thing, right? Like it's like you have these rules of this game that you're creating, and if you break your own rules within the game, in some ways it can be a good thing to subvert your own rules, but it can also, especially in the early levels, like if we only have two
Yeah.
levels right now, it can be confusing to the player, like, oh, I thought this was the rule. What is, like, now how do I play the game, because I thought I
Mm-hmm.
knew. So yeah, being consistent in pretty much everything until you, at least until your players have a lot of experience and skill, is definitely important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something that was consistently fun for me was to like just push things over,
Mhm.
because that kind of physical interaction with the game world is really cool. So it was fun to move the balls around, fun to move the platforms, fun to push that blue gate thing over and bust down that wall at the end. That was a good moment in that level. I
Yeah.
really like that.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I feel like you're really getting into the mind of a ferret with that comment, because ferrets definitely just kind of want to do what they're not supposed to do. And I definitely think that just pushing things over randomly falls into that category.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been around a couple ferrets in my life, and they are very curious little critters.
Yes.
Definitely like to
Cur-
get into stuff.
Curious is the kind way of putting it. They are very curious. I would call it mischievous or
Yeah,
naughty, maybe.
that's
They're
fair.
I love them very much. I love all critters of all sizes, but like they are so, so naughty, which can be adorable.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, did you have any other feedback for that level?
Um I will say the exit gate
Hmm.
kind of didn't feel like I was escaping the cage. It just felt like I was getting to a gate in the game, because like it didn't look like the exit to the cage. It didn't look
Hmm.
like I was going to be able to get outside of the cage to a different area. Um,
Yes, this is a
and
good point.
especially in the playground level that I played, that ramp, there was the big long ramp to lead down to that, and I just kind of went over there because I didn't know what else to do.
Mm.
But it didn't feel like something that was the end of that level, or like I was gonna get out of the cage or go somewhere special.
Okay, yeah, I definitely agree with that. Um, do you think, this is just me as a playtester asking a random question about what we've been thinking about? Do you think it would be more interesting to have like some things of the house outside visible in the cage? Or
Yeah.
do you think it would feel more like you're escaping if you can, like, it, obviously you have an actual exit gate that feels like you're exiting the cage, but like do you think it will be important to have the house visible?
Hmm. I think it would be cool to have the house visible to add extra like context to what you're doing. Um, rather than just being floating in the void.
Mhm.
It would especially be cool if there was things in the house that would like have some animations, like periodically someone would walk by, or like if there were
Oh,
other pets. That would be neat. That's the kind of thing I think is neat in games. What it almost reminds me of, I don't know if you know anything about the game It Takes Two.
I do. I've been playing that game. It is so
Yeah,
fun.
it is so fun. I love that game. But the environments in that game, because you're on such a small scale, but you can see these vast areas, even areas that you can't get to, but you can see other parts of the house and things around. And I think that same vibe would be really cool
Mm.
in Feisty Ferrets.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I really love that in that game. They did, every time I play a level of that, I'm like, wow, these people really put in a lot of effort into just making it feel alive. And it's so cool because they have so many mechanics that are
Hmm.
used for literally 5 seconds of the game and
Yeah.
then never used again. And I'm like, you put so much love and effort into this teensy little part of the game. And it makes it feel so great for the player because it's so exciting. Like, oh my gosh, there's a million and one mechanics to discover. But the
Hmm.
people who created that, I mean, they are dedicated to put that much time and love into it just for that long. I mean, they did an
Yeah.
amazing job with that game.
Absolutely. I totally agree. That game is like a masterpiece.
It really is.
And
Yeah.
every single time I played with my friend who I was playing it with, like there was something new to discover and something I wasn't expecting. So every
Yeah.
single time it was like something surprised me, and that was really cool.
Yeah. It's really amazing. I think it's really important in platforming games like this to have an atmosphere that gets across the vibe. Like it's like there's a million types of platformers, right? Like
Hmm.
it's really just slapping a unique set of paint on it, right? That sets it apart from everything else. Because we've all played platforming games at this point. And it's really the same mechanics used over and over again, maybe in slightly different ways, but it's really the same set of mechanics. But because the story or the setting is engaging, and especially the characters, that's what really
Hmm.
draws people in to be like, yes, I would like to play another platforming game, please.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for playtesting for us. I know our levels were really short, and that kind of means that the stream is short, but I really appreciate your feedback. I think everything that you said is valid and things that we've either already thought about or things that are really important to bring up to a playtesting session. You're an awesome playtester, and I really appreciate your time, Corey.
Well, thank you for having me on and giving me the chance to be a ferret. That was really fun. And
Of
I'm definitely
course.
down to playtest more in the future. So thanks for having me.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. We would love your perspective again in the future. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Hopefully, you guys have a little bit of an understanding of how you guys can playtest now. Again, this is more of a playtest that would be similar to a real studio where there's a host person who's kind of guiding the session, asking questions at the end, taking notes during the playtest. But for you guys, it's going to be a similar process just by yourselves where you will be sitting down and recording yourself with a microphone if possible, and seeing your facial expressions if possible as well, so that we know at this moment this is what they were thinking, but also just taking your own notes and then filling out that form that we walked Corey through in a kind of interview style. Any feedback that you guys have is going to be super useful, even if it's just bringing up the same points or similar points to what Corey said. Knowing that multiple people feel the same way, if you're making a decision in a studio and you're debating different approaches, it can be really helpful to be like, okay, 20 of our 25 playtesters had this suggestion, so we should probably do that just to make the player experience a little bit better. And if like one person said something out of the 25, then you're like, okay, well, not everyone felt this way, so maybe we don't lean this way. So again, your feedback is going to be super important. And once we have more levels out there for you guys, I will update the package again and let you guys know in our announcements for Feisty Ferrets little channel, and you guys can download that. In the next stream, I'll walk you guys through how exactly to update that package without interrupting your own workflows. But again, you can just kind of drag it in if you need help, like I said, I'll walk you through it in the next stream, but it really is just dragging in the most updated version, and then you have access to all the new levels that you can playtest. So looking forward to seeing your guys' feedback and also any levels that you have to contribute so that we can playtest even more. Thank you guys so much for joining. I hope that you guys have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone.